coverage of a DB. Vision of a QB coming at you like a DN. Let all of that sink in. Working in the weight room, we can't take no days off. Doing drills when they not looking, that's what make us stand out. Don't worry about how much time is left, we got it planned out. Execution, elite footwork, nasty when we running routes. Accuracy off the chain, we've been on it from the start. Reaching for the sky, hitting the bullseye, we on the mark.
What it do? We in the building. We up. You know what it is. It's Wednesday, live from the Fishbowl Radio Network, the On Your Mark Show. Powered and sponsored by Epic Sports. Prepare every play I compete. Listen, it's week one. We up. We're going to talk hit your mark games of the week. And we got my dude Adam from GP in the building. We're going to talk about his tour. Let him tell you some games, players. We're going to talk a little bit of some guys that you might need to see. Of course, as always, my brother in the building, Coast to Coast CEO, Epic CEO, Stephon Johnson in the building. Listen, y'all don't see how excited we are for football. You know what I'm saying? We all been hitting scrimmages and doing this type. Listen, the ball drops tomorrow. We got a big game we'll talk about. But first, man, listen, Adam from GP. Listen, if you don't know this guy, you need to keep up with him. He's one of the bigger guys in the media around the state of Texas. Guys, tap in with my dude. We're going to give you his information before he leaves, man. Shout out to my dude, Ange, behind the ones and twos. Always, Fishbowl Radio Network. Adam, what it do?
What's up, guys?
Man, chilling, man. Appreciate you giving us a little time. First of all, go back and tell everybody how you got into the game, how you got started, in your journey to where you are now.
Yeah. Well, I started back when I was like a junior in high school. I just wanted to be involved in sports my whole life, and a friend of mine, Matt Davidson, I knew him and reached out to him, said, hey, how do I do what you do? And he linked me up with Friday Night Glory. And fast forward, man, worked with them throughout all football season and even other sports. Went to college, to pursue my education, and then from there on is when I, started doing freelancing and doing 7-on-7. And I was fortunate enough, Coach Grant from T Texas Fury reached out to me and asked me if I was up for hire. And I told him yes, and then I've been rolling with him ever since, covering his 7-on-7 team, and that just, took my coverage to a whole other level that I didn't think it would. And then after that, I just started freelancing, just working with as many and networking with as many people as possible throughout the seasons, and I'm able to, like I said, tour on my own and go to as many games as I'd like, every fall, and travel wherever for 7-on-7 as well.
Absolutely, man. He was also still is part of the DR7 family as well.
Always.
When he's free, he comes in, man, and does that as well, man. A jack of all trades, a guy that writes, shoots, everything. If you need a guy, plug in with my guy. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's here. So, first of all, let's talk about the tour, how you named it, how you came up with it, and, we'll start to dive into some of those games.
Yeah, so this season, Always Motion Tour for this year is the name of it. How I got the name was really in the off season. We had a lot of newer media members come into the scene, and we were just networking and things like that, hearing them talk, what they expect for the season and giving them a taste of, some of the Dallas teams, some of the Houston schools, and, just the different atmospheres in different cities. And, a couple of comments came up saying, at the time I was saying Houston doesn't have smoke. Like, Houston's got smoke. It's not as good as Dallas. And I was like, I don't know. Like, me being from Dallas, I love Dallas football, and I try to rep Dallas as much as I can. But when I started covering Houston, they got my respect, and I was able to call it a second home. So I was like, Houston's got some kids too and got teams. So once I took that, I didn't take it lightly. So I was like, all right, let me see what I can do to make it, just to prove them wrong. And I just thought of, well, there's always motion in Houston, and we always know this in Dallas too. And I just know football is king in Texas. So I was like, we're going to prove that there's motion everywhere in the state of Texas when it comes to football.
Absolutely, man. And I think another acronym, you're an acronym type guy.
Yeah.
AFG, Adam, sports, AFGP sports. Talk about that and how you came up with that as well.
Yeah. So, it started when I first started, like I said, as a junior. At the time, everybody had a nickname going into media. Like, Jeter was Jeter Dallas, Texas. One of my favorite videographers, Tobias, Kai, he went by Kai Visuals. Jay Lit, thing like that. So I was like, well, let me fit in and, come up with my own nickname. So I started with Adam from GP because I was from Grand Prairie. That was the high school I was going to. Just wanted everybody to know that's where I'm from. And that stuck for the 2 years I was in high school, finished high school. And then when I left, I wanted to go more professional. I didn't want to keep it that, but I wanted to keep the homage of it somehow. So especially the GP part, it's where I'm from. So I took the first letters of each one, AFGP, out of GP, and changed the meaning behind it, which is always forward, gaining positivity. And at the time, it was just because I just want to do everything positively as much as I can, not for myself, but like when I'm covering kids, creating headshots, doing graphics, anything, just making sure it's always positive. And I tell kids that, even coaches, when I'm out at games, covering them, like I never do anything negative. I don't want to talk about, oh, he fumbled the ball or he threw this many interceptions. No, I don't want to bring that up. I want to talk about how he ran for 200 yards and he threw for 150 yards and things like that. So that's the thing, is always forward, gaining positivity. And my mission statement I go by is to make sure I always provide exposure and motivate young athletes to excel at the next level, whether it's on or off the field, and make sure it's always the best opportunity and best option for themselves.
Absolutely, man. And you've been doing that for a long time, and that's why I brought it up, man. And, you're a young go-getter. Like a little brother to me. You keep in contact all the time. I was there when he started with Friday Night Glory, so, I kind of know that, I kind of stay plugged in with Adam because he has his, feet on the pulse of things that's going on. And, been knowing Adam for a while, and you've seen his hustle, grow for a while, Coach.
Listen, when I tell you one of the hot guys and what he said about the positivity part, you won't find that a lot of places, and that's why we do what we do here and bring in guys that fit the same narrative that we're trying to push. We always want to be positive. So much negativity out there. You want guys that's going to continually push the great side of what we do, because there's always so much negative that come with playing sports and writing and so much. So,
absolutely.
It's an added bonus when you have so many guys that want to do it the right way, and he's definitely one of them, and will soon be. These two will be one of the greatest to do it. I don't care what nobody say. Will definitely be one of the greatest in my book.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And that's why we brought him on, because we want to, give you guys a good preview of what's going on this week. We got some games that we'll talk about as well. We'll start with the games that Adam's going to this week and talk about those a little bit.
Yeah, so, week one, really excited to get back, Friday Night Lights, or even just the atmosphere of Texas high school football. But tomorrow it starts. Longview versus McKinney. I've always heard about Longview football, and, they're a powerhouse, very rich tradition coming out of East Texas. They represent really all of East Texas when it comes down to it, in a sense. So I wanted to see them. I wasn't able to see them last year. I did see them in the playoffs, but, I didn't get to see them at home. I was like, well, I got to find a way to see them this year. So I fit them in when they're playing McKinney, especially on a Thursday night. It's always great to start the season as early as possible. Friday will be at Allen DeSoto, Tom Landry Classic. Both of these teams, defending state champion DeSoto, and I think they come in ranked in the top 5, and then I think DeSoto's ranked in the top 5, and Allen's ranked in the top 20, I believe, come into in week one. So again, two great powerhouses in Texas high school football, especially in Dallas, going head to head, and obviously at a beautiful stadium at Allen Eagle Stadium.
Absolutely.
And then Saturday, I'll take the drive down to I-45, see Katie Tompkins and Cy Ranch. Both great. Well, for Cy Ranch, a great offense they have over there. Really exciting to see what they do this year in the offseason, in this season, after what I was able to see in the offseason. And then Katie Tompkins as well. Katie Tompkins is one of those, high caliber teams out of the Katy ISD district with the many teams they have. So they represent Katy really well, so it'd be interesting to see them two go head-to-head in week one.
Well, let's talk about Longview McKinney a little bit first. We were talking about this before we came on air. We actually drove down last year and saw Longview against Lancaster, which was a very, very good game. Two teams that actually went to the playoffs in the same district, and Longview got out of there by a hair. It was a competitive game. I think Lancaster was up for a little bit going to the second quarter, and then Taylor Tatum just kind of established his dominance in that offensive line, just took over in the second half. But they were right there, and shout out to my guy Coach Paul, man.
Man, he coming.
And we can talk about them a little bit too. They're loaded this year as well. We were talking about some loaded teams before we came on, but Coach, I'll toss it to you. You got a chance to see Longview up close and personal last year. A little bit about McKinney. Talk about this matchup.
Man, I believe Longview, depending on what the offseason was, I think they'll have a really good shot at winning this game and bouncing back from a disappointing playoff run last year. From what they say, I think McKinney brings some speed to the game, but I think Lancaster can.
Longview
can offset that. 2 L's. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, no doubt.
Longview can offset that. I mean, they're fast up front. Defense is sound. Still got a few holes. Some new guys moving up. So we'll see how it goes. But I got my money on Longview.
Okay. Adam will both be at that game as well. I'll let you give your thoughts about it before I weigh in on it. Two teams that come in highly ranked. Longview's 5A Division I. They're number 2 behind Aledo. Then you got College Station at 3, Lancaster's at 4, which we talked about them as well. Then you got Timberview rounding that out at number 5. I believe that McKinney's probably a top 20 team. Coming back, they had Keldrick Luster, who's at SMU now. Last year.
Man.
Listen, they went
Superman, that's my dude.
They went 3-4 games deep last year.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
did.
And they got a lot of those usual suspects coming back. But I'll toss it to Adam before I give my thoughts about it.
Yeah, that's the thing with McKinney too. Is what intrigued me to make sure I gotta get this game because they've been cooking this up for 4 years. I mean, I've been hearing the noise that McKinney at the time was 2 years ago. McKinney Boyd was running that district, and then McKinney. Everyone was saying, "Hey, McKinney's gonna be something in a couple of years." And like you said, they went a decent run last year. A lot of my other media friends were capturing the content for them, and it was looking very, very intriguing and exciting. So, one reason why I fit them into the schedule for me, and then like for Longview, like I said, just the rich history about it. I mean, close relation I have to them is one of my best friends, Jawan Davis.
Shout out Jawan.
Shout out to Weedham Bowes. That's my guy.
Where you at? You need to be on here, Jawan.
Man.
He's always told me about Longview, and it's cool to hear the stories about him.
Yeah.
And he's always telling me about who Longview has. So I was like, once I knew they were coming in town. I was like, well, let me make it happen. And
right.
So it's gonna be really exciting to see. And hearing about Longview, I'm excited to see Taylor Tatum in person. I haven't seen him in person yet, but always seen his highlights and things like that. And I feel like, honestly, I would go with Longview, because Taylor Tatum hasn't denied me or like turned my head to like not believe in his ability.
Right. Well, I like y'all's pick, but you know what I'm saying. Shout out to my guy Brian Gossett. We do a pick every week in his picks for the last few years. Me and my guy Matt Davison and a couple more guys in the media. But I picked McKinney this week only because, as you saw last year, the reason that I thought Longview struggles, they didn't have a solid quarterback foundation. You had Jalen Held, who committed and went to Alabama, and he got loose right there at the end of the second quarter. They couldn't get the ball to him. And, the rumblings I've been hearing is Taylor may be running some Wildcats, so they don't have a proven quarterback. Well, on the flip side, shout out to my guy, Coach Marc Shavers over at McKinney, who's built the lines up for the last few years. You got Bryant Jackson, who's going to USC. Who's one of our top flight running backs in the state of Texas as well. Some experience on the offensive line. You got a couple of receivers that have been getting Division I looks. And they got some of the best. When you talk about, shout out to my guy, Coach Clay Mack. If you didn't see that episode, you can go to the On Your Mark Show YouTube channel and check it out. When you talk DB play, that's where I like impressive DB play. They have some great athletic corners on the back end over there. Those guys are going to be ready to play, and it's in McKinney. Longview's coming on the road. Not that Coach King
point.
and those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, they're out of their element. They're gonna. East Texas travels well.
Yes.
But I think that McKinney's due for the upset. They've been building this and carrying off the momentum. If Taylor Tatum has to carry the load for 4 quarters, not that he's not the guy, which I think he is. It's the reason why I'm going to the game to see 2 of the best running backs in the state, him and Jackson, that you're going to see on Saturdays next year. So, the only reason I picked McKinney is because of that. I think they got home field advantage. They have a little bit more proven talent. Now, Longview does have one of the best safeties in Willie Nelson coming back. That's a highly talented safety. They got some pieces on defense as well. And you can't count, a state champion in Coach King out. He's a veteran. He's been doing this for a long time. So that would be the only thing. But that's the only reason I picked McKinney is, I heard that they had a move-in quarterback that's been, around a little bit, and they got some pieces. So that's why I picked McKinney.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. We'll be there, man.
Interesting.
Follow us, Epic Sports Apparel, Flex Zone on Twitter as well, Facebook page. We got some things cooking over there as well. And
Coming soon.
Coming soon, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that's a game that's going to be, better than the experts think, but I'm rolling with McKinney on that one. Just because of that. That's the only reason. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's good. That's a good point.
Yeah. What's your next game you got?
So Friday night we're gonna head back up north to Allen DeSoto.
Okay.
So I mean, Allen Eagle Stadium, a beautiful stadium, and then again, top 2 teams in the state of Texas go head to head in week 1.
Well, listen, I'll start it off this time. I wasn't at the game, but I had some guys that were in the game there, and Allen. And I know that things are vanilla in a scrimmage, so they don't show everything. But shout out to Coach Gase in North Carolina and Goon City. They pretty much dominated Allen up front. And we'll talk about some sleepers coming in, but I'll give you a little hint. North Crowley's a sleeper in 6A.
North Crowley's coming.
North Crowley's coming. You know what I'm saying? They got some dudes over there at all positions. They they got Sterling Brooks, who just committed a 6'5", 300-pound D tackle that's going to TCU. He's a dude. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't just clog the middle. He can rush the passer. So they got Keith Hodge over there as well at linebacker, a dude.
Been a dude.
Yeah. Chris Jemison as well. You know what I'm saying? So, Allen's got some pieces to make up. I think, the question is for them is at the quarterback position. So they don't know where they're going with it. They had 2 quarterbacks kind of coming in and out. They still got some speed at the the money positions, the skills, and they got some weight up front. But I just don't think that they're going to – DeSoto's loaded. We were talking about this before.
Yeah.
They're loaded, you know what I'm saying? And they're loaded for the next 3 years, not just the older guys. You know, they got the best quarterback probably that I think that doesn't get enough love.
Most underrated.
Most underrated. Sam Houston State commit DJ Bailey. If you don't know him, you can Google him.
You better put eyes on him.
You better put eyes on him. Of course, us 3 have seen him since he was in 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? So we got plenty of eyewear on him. And I think, of course, you got Tiger, you got Jaden Treadwick, big offensive line that's, established.
Huge now.
Man, listen, Dalen Singleton, you know what I'm saying?
Big Snacks.
And listen, Big Snacks. And if you hadn't heard of class of 2027 freshman Ethan Booby Feaster, he's coming. You've
been under a rock if you haven't.
You hadn't heard of him. You're not paying attention to high school football. And then you got my guy Booker going to Stanford on D. They're loaded. Yeah. I think that DeSoto has a chance to go back to state. Shout out to Coach Matheson, Sweeney, and those guys over there. And, Coach, I'll toss it to you.
Listen, 75115. Eagles gonna fly.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah.
The one thing I say about DeSoto, man, just me being blessed to be able to go in the locker room. Sweeney, Mathis, those are my guys. Whenever I want, get on the sidelines. Those kids are hungry, and I see the movement. It's a lot of kids moving into 75115, and DeSoto is growing. I think it's in the next year or two we're gonna see that shift where that game against Duncanville will get closer and closer.
I think it's gonna be close.
I see it coming back. Yeah. I can see it coming back. Me being on the sidelines at both schools, right, and looking at the kids. Last year I was like, ooh, Duncanville is just way bigger. This year it's like, ooh, DeSoto kind of, man. Yeah. Within the next couple of years, that because DeSoto used to handle Duncanville for a while.
Right.
I can see
I
that
think
shift.
That was before samples.
It was. I can see that shift kind of starting to nudge its way to where it's going to even out, depending on what the next couple of years look like. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think this week DeSoto definitely is coming in hot because they're coming off of that win, and those guys hit that iron like it's no tomorrow. They attack it like it's everything in them. They hungry.
Right.
So, they keep those guys at a very even keel, and they're going to let them off the leash. So right. I got DeSoto on this one.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I went in really skeptical of just seeing Allen because they haven't been the Allen that we've known in recent years, back when they were dominating 6A. And even like you said, Mark, their quarterback room was really up for question. Mm-hmm. They had a kid, a young kid, come in, announce he was going to be, at Allen, and he left within like a month. And honestly, that was where the big question mark was. So that was a big question to have. But I know Allen's defense front seven is phenomenal and Absolutely. Huge. So that's what's been consistent with Allen as well. But like we said, DeSoto's weapons, they have too many weapons, like DJ Bailey, like we said, Tiger. I mean, on defense, another underrated, under the radar guy I know is Keelan Abrams. He's committed to Purdue, but he gets in the backfield like 80% of the time, and people will call him a pass rusher, but he's so versatile that he'll hold his spot and ask you to run just so he can get a tackle for loss instead of a sack.
Right.
But, DeSoto just has so many weapons, and like we said, we're coming off of a state championship, and in a way, like you said, they didn't stop. They hit the iron hard. I didn't see them let up in the offseason. Like, after state, a lot of those kids seeing on social media and things like that, they were back at DeSoto.
They went hard.
Running routes. DJ was running routes, 7-on-7. Most of them played on the same 7-on-7 team, across the nation. And then they got back together and played in the state 7-on-7 SQTs and went to the state tournament. So, they just been staying sharp this whole time. And, so I feel like that's what keeps them, ahead. And I do got DeSoto winning this one as well in a big game.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a big win now. Don't be surprised if Allen puts up a pretty good fight, but I think I think DeSoto just wears them down in the end.
Yeah.
I think up front, everything starts in the trenches, and DeSoto's just well-versed and versatile there. They're too deep, could play at any school in the state. And I think that's the difference of where they go. You know what I'm saying? And, I think when it comes down to that showdown with Duncanville, it's going to be – this will be a game that we'll probably all be sitting there looking at. You know what I'm saying? So
we will be in
there. No doubt, man. Again,
I don't see a blowout this year.
No.
I don't see a blowout this year.
I know it was a blowout last year, but the elements kind of played a key in there.
Yeah, it was very rainy that one.
It was raining. You were there.
I wasn't there. But
you were going to go.
I really didn't go because of the rain.
Yeah, I didn't go either, but we talked.
But
I know
it was bad. All my friends that went, they were there.
Yeah.
They were like, it was bad, but it was.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that plays a part in it as well because both teams are so skillful. In the trenches just kind of won, and they wore it down. Where I think last year, DeSoto was a high flying team coming into that game. They went on the road to play in Oregon, then they lost to St. Francis. I was at that game. Yeah. Listen, St. Francis, when they stepped off the bus, you knew.
Listen.
I was at that game. Listen,
and you called me like, man,
I did.
Them boys are real deal.
I picked up. I say, coach. I say, dog.
Real.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. When they stepped off the bus, but I think that in talking to Coach Mathis a couple weeks later after a game, and Coach Todd from South Oak Cliff does this, and I think Samples does. They prepare in the preseason or what you want to call non-district games for that particular type of run that each team made.
Absolutely. You want to get battle tested, and I think going back a few years, with Coach G, that's what hurt him with Lancaster having that easy district, especially right around the COVID time. They weren't able to get those games that's going to stretch you and test you, and they wasn't worrying about. Mathis wasn't worrying about losing or anything like that in those games because. It's going to test us to see where we are, and if we can just hang tight with teams like that, hey, we're good. Those are private schools, man. They got everybody.
Of course. Just
it's a different type of ball.
A couple years ago when I went to the Mater Day Duncanville game.
Absolutely. Same thing.
Those are teams that they can recruit. It's a little bit different. Now, give us a chance to recruit like that here in Texas. I bet you we can compete.
Different ball game. You're talking private sector and public sector.
Yeah.
Two different animals.
And I honestly believe that if we, it's like if you putting a team together on Madden, an all-star team. If we can come together and put Colin Simmons on the same line with, 2 or 3 other guys from North Shore, put Devin Sanchez from North Shore at corner, we'll shut boys down too. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was the case. It'd be ugly. You know what I'm saying? What you got next?
So then Saturday, I'll take the drive down to I-45. Gonna go to Katy Tompkins versus Cy Ranch. Cy Ranch is one of the teams that, I have close relation to, and I know a lot of the kids there. So, I really wanted to see them, especially the kids that I know are seniors this year.
Right.
And that's the thing with me, too. Once I've, covered you for a while, I want to be there, to always support you. So, with these kids being seniors, I make sure I got to see these kids for sure this year.
Right.
Because to me, this is their year.
Right.
So excited to see Cy Ranch. They've always had a great offense. The receivers have always been downfield. So making big plays, big gains. And one of my favorites is Tracy James. So I want to see how he does. His senior campaign. Coming into this year, and then also Katy Tompkins. Katy Tompkins is one of the dominant Katy teams in all of Katy ISD, like how big their district is, or the school district is. They have like 7 or 8 schools. So, and also too, I mean, I take a lot of this into account for the stadium where we're playing at. I mean, Legacy Stadium over there at Katy, brand new. I think it's only like 2-3 years old. So, you know, excited to be back in that stadium. You know, and you know, just great atmosphere. Week 1 is for me is I just want to have the best atmosphere going to this season, especially with the best games as possible.
Man, listen, Katy Tompkins, Wyatt Young, one of the best all-around athletes. I think he's going to really get a chance to play some quarterback. And Caleb Blocker is a guy that you need to know as well. Running back.
He can go.
He can go. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing him. I met him as a freshman. You know, when he played with God, what was the name of that team? It was a team from Katy. My guy, I can't think of their name right now. But I met Caleb Blocker, and he's been at several you know, prep red zone camps over the last couple of years. So he's a guy that's going to be emerging as a senior, and they always have a great offensive line at Tompkins. So, and then at Cy Ranch, we talked about a couple of players. You know, Tracy James is the man. He can play on both sides of the ball. I believe he's a guy with 20-plus offers. So, you know, and he's a part of Team Texas Fury.
Yeah, correct.
If I'm not mistaken. So, Coach, you've been in the Houston area for a long time. You know,
Long time.
Jalen Milroe is our guy down in Alabama.
Shout out, Mill.
Shout out to Milroe. You know, he should be in the mix for the starting quarterback down in Alabama. But I met him.
Be the starter.
The starter.
Should
you know
be.
what I'm saying? But that's, you know, I might be a little biased on that, but I ain't gonna lie.
We're both.
You know what I'm saying? But Tompkins has established themselves, and I think this is the year they get close to Katy in that district.
Here's the thing, man. Like with Cy-Fair and Katy, they're busting at the seams with a school like every other week.
Right.
You know,
So both of those districts.
Yeah. It's
like
schools,
Frisco.
Schools are popping up
Yeah.
every year, man. And I think just the talent is starting to expand so crazy. It's really hard to know early, you know, which one of those schools are really going to come out to be on top. I think, 2 new schools in Cy-Fair this year?
I believe so.
Yeah. And
I think
one
Katie's
more in
already
Katy.
building their next one.
Yeah.
They're already building
They're
another
close
one.
to T.
And the
Yeah.
thing, and the thing with Katy too is just so interesting or crazy to me sometimes that they're building a new school, and they're supposedly still going to be a 6A. And you know how many kids you need like 4,000 kids to be a 6A. And they already have
and the same
8.
with Cy-Fair.
Yeah.
And here's
They
the
already
crazy
have
thing.
18.
Here's the crazy thing. My son lives in Cy-Fair, but has a Katy address. So they're fighting for the same, you know, real estate for kids, you know, because they're right next door to each other, in a sense.
Right.
So it's tough, man. I on this one, I don't know, man. I can't. Being a fan of both teams, if I had to give an edge to anybody, it would be Katy Tompkins.
Yeah.
If I had to give, and that's because of their history of playing in close games and winning, and you got to play Katy, you know, as close as you can. So I give them the slight edge.
Another sleeper team is Katy Jordan coming out of that district.
Katy
Yeah,
Jordan.
Katy Jordan.
You know what I'm
Katy
saying?
Jordan.
My dude Zachariah Samples is must-see TV. Andrew Marsh, must-see TV. You know
Been
what I'm
knowing
saying?
Marsh since he was a pup.
No doubt. No doubt.
That's my guy.
Yes. Both of those guys can go. You know what I'm saying? You put the ball
Flat
in their
out.
hands, they can go.
Flat out.
And they've been building. They were close last year.
And
they were
that's a new
close-
school.
That's a new
Yeah,
school.
still a new school.
Less than
That's a new
5 years
school.
old. You
That's
know
a
what
new
I'm saying?
school.
Katy Jordan, I think they get in the playoffs this year.
No,
but
I think it's way closer than 5 years. Because
Yeah.
I think actually
like 3.
when they started, when Marsh started, they didn't have a freshman team.
Well, they
They didn't have a
JV
varsity
schedule.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
they
like
didn't have
3
a
years
varsity.
ago.
Yep.
Yeah, that was like 3
3
years
years.
ago.
Yep.
So I mean, you got to look at that, what they're doing. You know, building those things. But like Adam said, to have that particular area, you know, not just athletically but academically, that's one of the most competitive areas in the country. That
Absolutely.
Katy area. You can't go out there and not have a heart.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You know, moms and dads will be sad, honestly. You know what I'm saying? You have to come out there ready to compete. And that's a big,
At
big
any of those schools. out
any of
there.
those schools.
Any of them.
Any of them, not just Katy.
Because they're all chasing the Katy.
They're
Yeah.
all chasing.
Katy.
You know what I'm saying? And that's something that you have to think about when you move to those areas. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we have to be honest, and you know this as well, Adam. You know, there's a big element of moving around in the high school ranks now, so you have to think about those things when you transfer. You know, what I'm
Parents.
saying? Talk about that.
Parents, let me tell you right now. Here's something important you got to understand. You don't believe me if you're going to a high school, especially in Texas for football, you need to understand just because there is a school on the corner in my subdivision does not mean that school is for your kid. If your kid does not fit that system, fit that coaching staff, he's going to be left out. Sorry. It is what it is. You need to understand. You need to go talk to the coaches. Go and sit and watch practices. Go to more than one school before you say I do, even to your home, because you'll move in and you'll find out, hey, my kid doesn't even fit in here. And then what? You stuck.
Right.
You know, so it's do your homework and understand if you're serious about your kid being a next level player. It's the difference between being at one school and sitting on a bench and being at another school and being a starter. It's all about what you know going in. And if you don't have enough information, you kind of hurting yourself. So make sure you do your research.
Absolutely. You have to be well versed in that. And, you know, if you're getting advice or being counseled by certain people or, you know, have people in your corner, make sure you're getting the right advice. You know,
that's going to be very important.
That's going to be very important. You know, and you know, if you need to reach out to us, we're there for you as well.
I ain't free though.
No doubt. No, that's not saying there's not a bill that goes with that. It's just, you know, if you want to get the right information, you know, we're in the game. You know what I'm saying? So, but talk about some of your other week matchups going down the line on the tour.
I mean, really excited for this year. One of the big weeks is week 3. I'm going to go to San Antonio. This time it's actually my first time in San Antonio and experiencing a San Antonio school and their atmosphere. Because last year I went to the Pigskin Classic at the Alamo Dome.
Right.
So I was able to like mark that stadium off my bucket list without a doubt. But now I'm actually going to go to Cibola Steel, where their campus, their stadium, and
beautiful,
you know,
campus.
and that game they're going to be playing Hutto. So I get to see Hoss Haney, you know, at quarterback for Hutto, and then I get to see, you know, Cibola Steel. And my thing is, I have a matchup which is a quarterback DB matchup. Hoss Haney at quarterback, committed to TCU, and then you got Cibola Steel defensive back. We met him at DR7 in that very first tournament.
Right.
Dante Carter.
Right.
You know, he's committed to Vanderbilt, but I've seen him grow and become, you know, the athlete he is now. And
Absolutely.
he's the top, you know, athlete coming out of San Antonio right now.
Right.
So I'm really excited to see them two go head to head and, you know, see how they pick each other off. You know, I know he's going to try to target him, you know, Hoss Haynes going to want to get some throws on him. You know, I know Dante's going to want to get some interceptions off of him as well.
It's going to be a great matchup. That's
one week, you know, I'm excited, you know, to see. It'll be a new atmosphere for me for sure, you know, which I'm excited for. And then obviously, week 7, South Grand Prairie, one of the greatest rivalries in Texas. For Grand Prairie, honestly, one of the most promising teams I've seen in a while.
Right.
They finally have a good core of kids that have been together.
Right.
Most of these kids finally transferred to Grand Prairie, and they've been playing with each other since they were like 7. And I watched them on 7-on-7 circuit this fall, and they've been, you know, lights out. You know, they were shocking the world this year in a couple of tournaments. You know, so they're all in under one coaching staff, one group. So I'm really excited to see how they progress with their new team this year, and interesting to see what South Grand Prairie has. You know, obviously they recently new coach. I think it's the 2nd or 3rd year now at South. Seeing how he has the ball rolling these past couple of years for a great year. And the last week, week 10, well, not the last week, but my biggest week I'm excited for is week 10. I'm in Houston all weekend. To me, that's district championship week. Thursday night is Willis Woodlands on Thursday night. So on Thursday night football that week, I'll tell you, this October 26th. Don't tune in to NFL Network and watch Thursday night football.
No doubt.
No, you need to when they drop the Texas Live link to this game, watch this game because you got arguably the top 2 quarterbacks of the state of Texas. And then obviously the top 2 quarterbacks in Houston going head to head. DJ Lagway committed to Florida, and then Mabry Matar committed to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So, and this is a matchup I've been wanting to see because last year DJ was hurt. We didn't get to see them go head to head.
Absolutely.
But DJ, once he got healthy, he hit the 7-on-7 circuit and was doing phenomenal things. I mean, throwing sidearm, you know, on the run. So everyone's like, okay, I want to see him do this Friday night. So.
He will.
He will.
No worries.
Yeah.
He will.
So I want to see that, and especially them two just going head to head. They've been competing for the past 4 years since they were freshmen against each other, and this is the last year against each other. So this is gonna that's to me,
be a great game.
That's a district championship game right there. If everything goes well for both teams, that's a district championship as well. The Friday night, the next day is Atascocita North Shore.
Ooh.
I mean, last year that was a district championship, and I was there. And that game went crazy. I mean, North Shore dominated the first half, and then Zion Brown and Atascocita came back and made it a nail biter, and North Shore got out of it. But, I mean, that game itself, just how close it was and the atmosphere that time at Atascocita was awesome. So I was like, they're going to go back. And another quarterback matchup, Zion Brown at Atascocita and Caleb Bailey at North Shore in the same situation. Caleb Bailey was injured last year as well. Didn't get to see them go head-to-head. But now they're about to go head-to-head as well. And we know Zion Brown's been that dude. Zion Northwestern commit. And he's hungry. He's been hungry. He wants to go farther every year in the season. And then same with Caleb Bailey. Apparently he hasn't skipped a beat since he came off the injury. Apparently he's picked up where he left off, and he caught our eyes. Very, very young. Stepping up to the plate as North Shore's QB so young. So now it's his time now, and I feel like it'll be exciting to see both of them. And this time it's at Galena Park ISD Stadium, and that. North Shore always travels well and packs that out, and I know Atascocita will as well.
That is going to be a very close
relatively
game.
on the side.
That's going to be a close game. I'm lived in Atascocita for many years, so but you got to give it up to North Shore. But this year, what I'm hearing, Atascocita's coming with.
They loaded.
Listen, if North Shore's
loaded.
if both of them are loaded. If North Shore cough. Atascocita might get them this year.
Yeah. They got.
If they make a couple mishaps, it might be ugly.
They got Blaylock, but they got a guy that just I think that kind of pushes.
They got some dudes coming in.
They got Jelani Watkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got some dudes. Hey, shout out my dude D Block. Where you at, Blaylock?
Man, listen, that's gonna be a very good game.
Oh my God.
Two very good games.
They could see each other again in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
This might be it won't be the first time we see them.
No, they met each other a couple years ago. I think Demetrius Davis was still there. They met in the playoffs in the fourth round. My dude Deuce Wheeler was still playing for Atascocita then. Listen, same type of situation. Both teams loaded. They got one of the North Shore.
Here's my thing, and this is no disrespect to Atascocita.
Right.
It is going back to can Stump get over the hump?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Same thing with Coach Samples.
Yeah. Can Stump get over the hump? Meaning
he's been
going back to
time.
Westbrook. He hasn't been able to beat those perennial teams. He has never been able to beat a North Shore. Even at Westbrook, he wasn't able to beat a big powerhouse team.
Right.
And North Shore, of course, is used to winning big games.
It's their pedigree.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's going to be, on the coaching part, the kids are going to do what the kids are going to do. But are the coaches going to be locked in to where they don't outthink
situational
themselves?
football and turnovers.
That's it right there.
With this being such a heated rivalry, who keeps their head cool?
That's what I'm saying. Who can keep their head in the game and not overdo it and make those mistakes, because I know, how big of a moment this thing is, because being that close last year, of course, Atascocita, they already talking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm admin on a lot of books.
Yeah, no doubt.
So they already like, man, North Shore, North Shore locks down Facebook.
Right.
Like they
No doubt.
do not play
No doubt.
when it comes to football groups. They lock it down.
I'm in some of those forums as well. Yeah.
So Atascocita, they already talking noise. So they want them coaches, man, to come on with it.
I've had a chance to get to know Zion Brown, Braylon Conley, and those guys over the last couple of years. I know that both of those guys are seniors and want to go out with this one.
I've been knowing them boys since they was babies.
Right. I know those two guys definitely want this.
Absolutely.
They want it bad. They want it bad.
They want it bad.
They want this one.
So
I know that's going to be a key one, man. That's a heck of a lineup. You hadn't even got to the other game on Saturday that week. Go ahead.
Then Saturday night, CE King versus Summer Creek. I mean, last year. CE King went on a run. No one thought they did. No disrespect to CE King, but I didn't think they were going to go that far.
No. And
they proved me wrong and turned me to a fan. So
they had a running back that was trained by Coast to Coast. At CE King.
Yeah.
And he's a dog.
Yeah.
Been having him since he was 7th grade.
Yeah.
Ask.
Yeah. No, he was a monster. You know what
and doing the same thing in college right now. True freshman.
Yes.
That's my baby.
Yes. I mean, I think, Avant as well for Summer Creek is one of the best running backs in the state that a lot of people don't talk about.
Absolutely.
That stabilizes. That CE King's been on the cusp every year. Those are all four teams from that district
Right around the corner
went to
from
the
each other.
playoffs last year, the last 2 years really.
Yeah.
You know, they've been 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're talking about North Shore, Tascasita, Summer Creek, and Sea King.
And they all right around the corner from each
Right.
other.
Yeah.
Pulling from the same tree.
Right. And, you know, we're talking about, you know, big brother against little brother. I mean, it's
Yep.
the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's a heck of a slate of games, you know. And, you know, we talked about this off camera. I may have to dip down there for that one. You know what I'm saying?
That Sea King Summer Creek game is definitely, I mean, they're literally right down the street from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think now the biggest difference with Sea King is now they have the facilities
Yes.
like North Shore, like
Right.
Summer Creek,
Right.
like Atascocita. The weight room, the weight program is phenomenal. So now, you know, they have that ability to catch up. But the thing that's hurting them, they're sitting in the middle of Summer Creek and North Shore. So the real estate is tough.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
It's
you
a
got
tug of war.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, they're sitting literally in the middle.
Right.
You got North Shore down the street, you got Summer Creek down the street, and they sit right in the middle.
Right.
So it's really tough to, you know, get those kids to say, hey, if you're gonna move here, well, coach, we can go to Summer Creek. Well, coach, we can go to North Shore, but no, you gotta, you know. So I think the facilities has really been helping, you know, Sea King pull a lot of kids, and I think it's just a matter of time before they get that right sauce.
Mixture.
Yeah, that right sauce, you know, that's gonna help.
Man, listen, I think that all of those teams mentioned will be playoff teams in some
Without a
form
doubt.
or fashion.
Without a doubt.
You know, the coaching staff, you mentioned Coach Stump and his stability, you know, not just in Atascocita, but going back to Westbrook, that's dated. You know what I'm saying? Beaumont Westbrook's always had some talent. Always. That corridor of Texas is untapped sometimes when it comes to media coverage, I think. But, you know, college coaches know that area. The Golden Triangle is what they call it. You know,
Full of
It's
them.
golden for a reason.
Yeah, I
Man.
mean, it's untapped, and if you don't get a chance to see that type of talent, you just don't know.
That whole entire area is just, I mean, loaded. Just like East Texas.
Absolutely.
You know, that whole, you can honestly take an all-star team from the Golden Triangle, all-star team from East Texas,
And put them together.
And they would, I mean,
They were stomp balls.
Man.
You know, it's just monumental, and you know, we get a chance to see this up close and personal all the time. But the talent level of high school football in the state of Texas, you know, you can go all the way down to the smaller levels. You know, or smaller levels when I say school wise, that's based on enrollment, not talent sometimes, and depth.
Like a love lady.
Yeah. You know, it just Carthage.
Carthage,
You know, Gunter.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Football. And they
You know,
played real good football.
real good football. Pack out stadiums.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the
Absolutely.
facilities. You know, some of these
A1.
towns.
Tell-
A1.
Melissa, look at Melissa now.
Salina.
Melissa now.
Yeah, my guys at
Yeah,
Salina.
shout out
And
to my
Melissa.
guy Adam McAbee up there.
Yes.
Melissa, we got to get
Yes,
up there.
sir. We gotta get to
We
Melissa.
will be in Melissa this year.
And Salina.
And Salina, yes. You know, those are the games that we'll see. But we're going to talk about a couple more games before we get out of here. These are, you know, games we already covered. McKinney and Longview, hit your mark games of the week. Duncanville, South Oak Cliff, rivalry. You know, we know both of these teams, coaching staffs. Everybody here knows those. Adam, I'll toss it to you. What are your thoughts on that game?
Another exciting game. I mean, just to start off the year, both state champions. I mean, now they're playing at SMU Stadium. I mean, a rematch from last year's Week 1 game. You know, Duncanville took the win home, but I mean, both of them, South Oak Cliff, they've shown that they can hang. I mean, they proved they won a state championship, and then they won the second one to prove that, like they said, it's not a fluke, that they're about it. And seeing the depth that they have, it shows that South Oak Cliff's going to stay around for a while. And I know Coach Todd doesn't want to run from smoke. He wants to play everybody. I mean, last week was scrimmage week. I know Todd was damn near close, ready to scrimmage Duncanville, because Duncanville didn't have a scrimmage.
Right.
He said, I don't care if we play on Week 1. We'll play them again.
Right.
You know, so seeing them go head-to-head, especially with how many guys, I mean, how South Oak Cliff has, I mean, their quarterback, you know, he's coming back. You know, everyone's expecting him. William Little, yeah. He's expected, you know, to do even better than what he did last year. I mean, the linebackers, I mean, shout out to Coach Spencer, his linebackers. He calls them Batman, Robin, and Joker. I mean, both of them. And also, I think 2 of them will be returning in previous years, so in recent years, so they're loaded. And we all know Duncanville. Duncanville is going to Duncanville. So, I mean, they got January, Colin Simmons, Caden Durham. So, I mean, it's just going to be I think it'll even be a closer game than it was last year. And, I mean, Prediction, I mean, I'm going to go with Duncanville. Duncanville probably going to pull it off within a touchdown maybe. You know, I think South Oak Cliff's going to give them more run for their money again.
Right. Absolutely. Now, Coach, you had a chance to get you really, really intricate with Duncanville this year, coaching the 7-on-7 squad. I think Keelan Russell is, he's already close to about 10 offers, I believe. But I think before the season over, he'll be in the 20s. You know what I'm saying? I had a chance to see him at the Under Armour showcase in March over at Arlington Martin. And between December and the time I saw him in March, his body had changed from state. He's bigger, stronger. He's slinging the rock. He was already running. I think he's a 4.5, 4.4 guy. We know Caden Durham, the LSU commit, Colin Simmons, loaded, Alex January, Texas commit, DeCorian Moore, LSU commit as a junior. And then they got a couple of running backs that's like sophomores. You know what I'm saying? They loaded.
You got Ace.
Yeah. So
sophomores.
I'm interested to get your take on this, but South Oak Cliff is loaded as well. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, man, I love watching Sock. Love, Coach Todd. That whole crew, man. They come with so much swagger.
Coach Ward, you know what I'm saying?
They come with so much swagger, man. It's crazy. I think the biggest difference that's going to come down to this game is that bench play. Who's going to be the freshest, right? Because both of them got some goons that's going to start the game, and they're going to go at it, right? But that second group, what that's going to look like, and watching and coaching, Duncanville 7-on-7, there's not a major drop-off when it comes to the guys that's coming in to give a spell. I mean, they're just as fast, just as hungry, and, I mean, when I tell you, just loaded, you can pick your poison when it comes to the receiver group and the running backs. Whoever you put that ball in hands, you're in trouble.
No doubt.
And that's every last one. It's rare that you're going to see 4 guys on the field for one school in the public school where you like, man, either one of these guys can take it to the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Duncanville will hurt you. And now that the biggest difference, they have a 6'3" quarterback that can actually throw the ball.
Right.
That's the difference maker.
Right.
We already know they got the blind blocking. They got the defense. They got the running backs. That's gonna if you take your eyes off of Caden Durham, listen, it's ugly. And he stayed. Listen, doing 7-on-7, he was so focused. Like he was like, Coach, throw me the ball every play. I'm a scorer. I'm like, dude, I can't. Just look, man, throw me the ball. Listen, those guys, man. I mean, they're loaded with. So I think the difference in that game. I think it'll be a close game too, honestly.
Right.
I think the difference maker is going to be, will they wear Sock down with, having more pieces. I think it's just going to be a numbers thing. Duncanville just having more kids, right?
Yeah.
And that Sock may have 2 that can flat out go.
Right.
But when you got 2 running backs, because now once you take Caden out, you got to tackle Big Trey.
Big Trey.
And
coming.
he's a load.
A load. He coming.
He is, and he's gotten faster over the summer.
I've been seeing.
Oh, my God.
I've been seeing the work you've been putting in.
He's gotten a lot faster. And then you got Ace Boogie, who's a freshman running 10-7.
Jet.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At slot. So you pick your poison.
Right.
You got a 10-3 guy in the backfield, a 10-7 guy, then you got DeCorian, then you got the new tight end that I'm going to let y'all figure out who that is in a minute.
The Turner is coming in off a freshman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said I'm going to let them figure out.
Yeah. Well, he got some juice in it too, but I heard he's gotten a lot better.
Oh, my God.
He's faster. He was 6'3" last year.
Oh, my. Listen.
Okay.
Can flat out go.
Yeah.
And something scary I witnessed for myself. Don't let them put Colin Simmons on offense. That boy can run a post like nobody's business and one hand that thing.
Right.
That boy can flat out play. He's an athlete.
I know it. That'll, man, don't do him like that. But now, I'll go on the flip side with South Oak Cliff. It starts in the trenches. Will Little, like you talked about, is coming back off of MVP. Danny Green, experienced at running back. Like you talked about the linebackers positions. They got some 2 guys in the secondary that are coming up, young safeties, corners. And I think that, Coach Todd and those guys have been preparing for this. You know what I'm saying? Coach Ward always has a scheme defensively that, has, offenses and fits on a weekly basis. So I think that, they have the tools to get it done. If anybody beats Duncanville early, it's going to be South. You know what I'm saying? Just because they have the guys that can match up with it and get it done. And the coaching staff, we talk about this all the time. The continuity of coaching staffs is not talked about.
Yeah.
I'll take Sock's staff and put them with anybody in the country, and they can go. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that'll be, some of the deciding factor in there. That's a game that we'll be at as well Friday at SMU. I think it's going to be very, very highly contested. A lot of these games, things talking about have been pushed back to like 8 o'clock now because of the heat, and that's the reason that they're pushing it back. But listen, very, very two good, very, very good teams. It's not going to be a blowout. It'll be close.
No.
It'll be close. You know what I'm saying? So running out of time, but we got a couple more games we'll talk about real quick. I'll get you guys' thoughts on Aledo, Parish Episcopal. You talked about House Haney earlier. This is in Aledo this time. You know what I'm saying? Parish has to go to Aledo. You know what I'm saying? So you got Sawyer Anderson. I think he competed to Purdue as well, the quarterback for Parish Episcopal. 2 of the top quarterbacks in the state of Texas. Quick thoughts on that game.
Because it's home field advantage, I'm gonna go with Aledo.
Absolutely.
You got to.
Absolutely.
They don't lose at home.
Me, I'm gonna be honest. Like, just knowing in Texas in private school football and public school football, I gotta go with public school football. We'll go with Aledo. I mean, Aledo is title town for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, home field advantage. I gotta go with Aledo. I mean, Parish is good. Parish is running TAPS.
Absolutely.
Parish, don't get me wrong. Parish Episcopal is running the TAPS division and will win state again.
Right.
But like I said, when we're gonna face a great, Aledo team. So I'm gonna go with Aledo again.
All right, real quick, Dallas Carter, Houston Yates. That's a tough one. Dallas Carter has a really good running back, Caden Landry.
I'm gonna go with Carter, man.
Yeah.
I got to go with Carter.
Yeah.
Only because I've seen Carter up close.
Right.
The last year or so, I haven't really been able to see. Shout out to Mike West.
No doubt.
And shout out to Bam and everybody at Carter. No, Coleman.
Yeah.
That's Coleman. Listen, it's gonna be a good game, but I think I'm gonna go with Carter. They've been preparing, and they got some skill, man. They got some dudes.
Quarterback is back this year too.
Quarterback is back. And them linebackers.
Yeah.
That was that flex on.
They got a freshman.
Yes.
That's why I'm going.
They can go.
Carter Yates, real quick.
I go with Third War High.
No doubt.
I'm gonna go with Yates. Things are changing, man. I mean, Raphael Thomas, Coach Thomas. He was coming in. He's been changing the culture of Yates, and he wants to bring it back. And the best way to do that, like we said, he brought in Mike West. Shout out again to Mike West.
Yeah.
He brought him back home, and we know Mike West is all about trying to bring Houston back, to glory and being, number one in everything. So having Mike West back, especially his encounters with Houston football and Texas football is phenomenal. So it's a bright future, and I think that could be a great first step for Yates. To win a week one, especially like against Carter or another predominantly well-known Dallas school as well.
Well, I think it's a matchup that's not getting talked about. There's some guys in this game. Yates, big tight end, 6'4", about 230. Jordan Andrews, I had a chance to see him at the Hooks camp.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
He's nice.
He's nice. We're talking about a guy that can get it done. So I think Yates is a sleeper. I'll be going down to see a couple more Yates games probably during the year as well. But listen, shout out to my dude Adam from GP for stopping through, man. Before we get out of here, Adam, tell everybody where they can follow you at on social media.
Instagram and Twitter, both of them are AFGP _sports. That's where you follow me. And same thing on YouTube as well. YouTube has gotten a lot more active, recently, been able to work on a lot more things. So, YouTube will be using that a lot more. But, I mean, for sure this season, you want to see all the game updates and highlights. Instagram and Twitter is where to be.
Absolutely. You talk about a guy that's really with updates on Twitter is this guy. If you're following Adam, he's been doing this for a long time. Twitter updates is out the roof. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy that really does that like that. You know what I'm saying? We'll be back next week on Wednesday, every week from 11 to 12 right here on the Fishbowl Radio Network. This episode will be up on the On Your Mark Show YouTube channel later on today. Check that out as well. Follow Coast to Coast, everyplayIcompete.com. You can go and get some of this gear. Look, it's going up, man. We're doing big things. Every week we're bringing it to you from the Fishbowl Radio Network. Shout out to my guy, Maynard Mike. He's going to take us out. Follow him on Instagram.
Hey, ready, set, go. It's time to hit the mark. This that show you need to know about. We set ourselves apart. Sports talk at the pinnacle. We got all the knowledge, covering every level, helping these young men get to college. Got the coverage of a DB, vision of a QB coming at you like a DN. Let all of that sink in. Working in the weight room, we can't take no days off. Doing drills when they not looking, that's what make us stand out. Don't worry about how much time is left, we got it planned out. Execution, elite footwork. From the start, reaching for the sky, hitting the bullseye, we on the mark.